studied abroad in Santiago, Chile for 5 months from February to July. This video is a part of the final vlog I'm doing for the Amherst College Office of Study Abroad. This is the third part of a 3-part series called Gringo, Afro-Americano, where I reflect on American identity and specifically Black American identity in international context. Now, before I start, I'd like to thank all those who have followed my blog and supported me during my time abroad. I'm going to go through some of the ways I had to readjust to American life upon returning. It's a part of the study abroad experience that's historically not been talked about enough. We have to readjust to our original national culture after spending so much time challenging ourselves to adapt to a foreign one. For instance, it's weird for me to speak in English again and not have to think so much when I want to order something at a restaurant. In regards to race and identity, okay, it's a little more complicated than that. I didn't think of myself as a Black American, but simply as an American while I was abroad in Chile. A lot of times, my Black American identity had no real social context to many of my Chilean friends. They saw me as an American who happened to have dark skin, who happened to be Black, but first and foremost, they saw me as an American. This was quite different from the Black identity that I had developed in the United States. With the Black Lives Matter movement and growing racial tensions in the US, before leaving for Chile, I had honestly become quite aware of my Blackness everywhere I walked in America. It was not secondary to my American identity, but it was essential to how I saw myself as a person. I had been to Costa Rica, to England, and to France before Chile, but simply as a visitor, for less than a month each time, and after living in Chile, I truly had sufficient time to think about who I am and how American I am, not just as a Black American. In Chile, I really grew to appreciate my American identity for the first time. Whenever I spoke Spanish, I was aware of my American accent. I became more aware of the ways in which my entire existence as a human being was not defined solely by my Black identity, by my Black body, but the fact that I grew up in the United States. As much as this reverse cultural shock experience was kind of tough for me, and in many ways I'm still readjusting to life here in the US, I want to share something that a friend of mine reminded me of that's helping me work through some of these feelings. He messaged me and wanted to know how my experience was in Chile. He himself is from South America and had lived and studied abroad in the US, kind of the opposite of what I did. And I told him there were many things about Latin American culture that I still miss, quite honestly, and appreciate more than North American culture. But he replied that as a Latin American, he could say the same things about the US. There's a lot of things that he appreciates about American culture, about US culture, and him saying that made me reflect and realize that as frustrated as I was with what I thought American society lacked compared to Chile, I was losing sight and taking for granted all of the good about America. I'm trying to channel that internal frustration about what America isn't into a more constructive conversation about what America could be, about the potential we have as Americans to learn from other countries and improve, but at the same time appreciate and love our nation. After all, a man who can't accept his own country is a man without a home. It's possible to love America, but want to see the country grow and transform itself into something even greater. As a history major, I know this quite well. We must be proud of our past, but not shy away from trying to create a better future. Earlier this year, actress Amanda Stenberg asked America, what if America loved Black people as much as Black culture? These type of questions are really important when we talk about what it means to be an American. And I would ask everyone listening to this also, what can Americans learn about identity by traveling and living abroad? For my family members who have lived abroad, they started to see themselves less as Black Americans, but simply as Americans. They passed these stories down to me, but honestly, I didn't fully appreciate the message until I went abroad myself, and I had the opportunity to come to terms with these questions on my own. And I want to be clear that this is not just a question for Black Americans. I think all Americans, whether they're Black, white, Asian, Latino, Native American, etc., can learn a lot of valuable things by traveling abroad. We learn about what we like, about what we don't like about our home country by exposing ourselves to other national cultures and identities. You also learn to see yourself as an American first. You see yourself as American before seeing yourself as a hyphenated American. I've started to look at this flag and feel more identified with it. Before, I took nationality for granted as having little importance compared to other identities and experiences I've had. But now I'm coming to terms with how relevant that flag is to who I am and everything I've experienced in this life. Our diversity is our greatest strength and pride as Americans, but at the same time, it's our greatest challenge as well. The fact that we have so much ethnic and cultural plurality means that being an American is complex and nuanced depending on who you're talking to. This is true of all societies, but I think it's even more pronounced in the United States. There isn't just one American experience, and that's a really incredibly beautiful thing. There isn't just one way to be American. I hope this video encourages you to think about your own national identity in a global context, and I also hope What I've said promotes more reflection about what it means to be an American. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.